today we will hear from multi-stakeholder initiatives that are trying to fix and address plastic pollution. There are many initiatives that are flourishing across the world, and we salute that. Led by businesses, led by NGOs, led by waste pickers, led by academia, and that is good.
Senegal produces more than 200,000 tons of plastic waste each year, a tiny part of which, some 10% actually, is recycled.
Solutions both upstream and downstream in the plastic system are needed and are distributed roughly 50-50 between upstream and downstream.
What I notice is that there has been a lot of effort, resources, given into recycle or recycling, right? But what I don't see as much is, effort and resource and investment that's going to reduce and reuse.
One of the things that we've done at Nestle is we've moved to simplify materials. So moving away from multi-layer materials to monomaterials. We also need to clarify who pays. Is it the consumer who's paying, the producer who's paying? Will it be managed by a nonprofit association or a producer responsibility body? Every country needs to determine their own answers to those types of questions if we're going to look at scaling up reuse.
And that change that we want to happen, it's gonna start with the people. When we link all the negative impacts of plastics and all the different ways on people's health.
In order to really achieve circular economy and reuse, you need to redesign for circular economy and have a paradigm shift away from disposability into reuse.
We need to look at measures to scale up the reuse or recycling of waste by implementing the correct regulatory measures, supporting businesses, and improving education and awareness. Noting, though, that we are not going to recycle our way out of the plastic waste problem.
Let's ensure we're also talking about socially sound as well as environmentally sound.
If we have given value to what everybody called garbage, that transition needs to come hand in hand. You cannot speak of a transition without talking to us.
Just transition means content and it means process.
We use the existing structures. We have opinion leaders in communities or in societies. We have the churches, the faith-based organization. How we can be, I wish how we could be able to engage in matters of environment as well.
We know that youth are activists, entrepreneurs, advocates, and educators, and they are creating change worldwide. They are fighting for solution. They are fighting for engaging in the policy negotiations.
Indigenous people, indigenous communities, even though are vulnerable to pollution, to everything that is taking place throughout the world, they are also protagonists. They are seeking solutions actively. They are building local solutions.
Introducing common criteria, more universal criteria, green labeling, certification would be very beneficial and would facilitate wider application of such approaches from the financial sector in general.
The trade community is from the start already trying to understand instead of waiting for an agreement to come.
As you can see, the airlines are very keen to replace single-use plastics with sustainable alternatives. But we need to ensure that regulations promote and do not obstruct replacement. And we feel that the treaty represents an excellent opportunity to try and overcome some of these barriers.
So a starting point of a system change required, but also a very constant element that we have heard across all the different panels and conversation of readiness to be engaged and willingness to have a space in which the conversation of all these voices continues and feed into the process of negotiation that is happening in the plenary just besides our room.